see it when nobody else sees it. You have to feel it when it's not tangible. You have to believe it when you cannot see it. You gotta be possessed with the dream. The dream.
What's up, guys? Welcome straight from the chest. My name is Justin Groth, and I just want to welcome you. If you haven't ever joined in on a podcast and this is your first time, welcome. Thank you for giving me your time. If you've been listening to me, thank you. You know that I'm greatly appreciative of your time, of your just the fact that you even listen. I'm just very grateful. Guys, I want to talk to you about something that is seemingly rudimentary, but I think it's often overlooked. And I want to paint the picture first with me in college. And I went to college wanting to basically do things that I wanted to do. And so I took classes like mechanics classes. I was really into installing suspension lift kits. And that was like my bread and butter when I was in high school and moving out of high school. And I had a little business for it, and I was selling product, installing lift kits, etc., etc. Okay, I wanted to get my ASE certification in suspensions and steering, and that's a class or a subdivision in the ASE or Automotive Service Excellence, what would you call it, credential. And it was a class A7, I believe it was, suspensions and steering. And the reason why I wanted to get that was because I wanted to be able to deliver more value to my client, or more reassurance to my clients when they would entrust me with their vehicles to put these suspension kits on. And so I did so as just a preemptive measure to be able to say, look, man, I'm credentialed. Here it is, right? ASE certified, bitch. I'm legit, right? Because, for me, it wasn't good enough for just to say, well, I did this kit over here, I did this truck over here, you know what I mean? So I wanted to develop more value in the name of my business and in who I was as an installer, etc. So I went through all this course time at Cuesta, learning about multiple components of suspension and steering and different elements of suspension and all throughout suspension history. It wasn't just what I was working on, which were basically newer trucks or newer model vehicles. But anyways, that's just what you have to go through. And I remember taking a pre-test, which was the actual test that I was going to be quizzed on, or not quizzed, tested on for the ASE. And I got a 95% or something like that. I was like the top tier in the class. Now, I'm not gloating or boasting. I'm just telling you facts. These are facts. And the fact that I had that score, and my teacher, which was Mr. Gary Villa, which, if you know Villa Automotive in San Luis Obispo, they're huge for automotive. Okay, so he was teaching the class. I love Gary Villa. He's awesome. And he ended up telling me, like, you scored this, and I know what is going to be on the test. I mean, he was master certified, so we had all classes of, A1 through A8. And I remember him telling me that this is exactly basically what the test is. If you do this, I mean, you're going to get certified. No one, however, told me, and this was the biggest bummer ever. Like, if I had known this, I probably would have not taken the class. But I ended up learning that in order for you to be actually ASE certified and be able to deliver that patent or sticker, credential, put the sticker on your door, say you ASE certified and it's legitimate. In order for me to derive that, I had to have 2 years minimal shop experience. So what that means is I would have had to work for a mechanic shop, just doing whatever, just working in a mechanic shop, oil changes, rotating tires, etc. Or other engine shit in a, whatever, like mechanical shit in a mechanic shop. That took the wind out of my sails because I knew me. I'm not going to put 2 years into a job to which I don't even want to do. I don't want to work for a mechanic shop for 2 years just to be able to have the certification of me being ASC certified mechanic in suspensions and steering. That's the only class that I want in suspensions. Okay, I'm not going to do that. That was the biggest bummer. I ended up not taking the test because I knew if I had taken the test and I passed it, all it would have been was it would have been a pending certification. Guess how long? Forever. Because I would have never put 2 years of my life into working in a mechanic shop. I'm not fucking gonna do that. There's no way. That's boring as shit to me. That's not even what I wanted to do with mechanics in general. But they have requirements. There's requirements that are asked of you. If you want to have this position, you have to go through the prerequisites in order to attain this position, or else you don't get it. And if I really think about it too, I wish there were that when it came to personal trainers. Because there are far too many personal trainers that you should not entrust with your body. I mean, we are doctors of movement, essentially. But most trainers, they're fresh out, they don't have any experience, they've been under no mentor program or affiliate program to help them to become more educated, more fine-tuned. And you teach me how to squat, deadlift, bench press, whatever. Like, no. A lot of trainers don't know what the fuck they're doing because a lot of these trainers don't even know how to move on their own, let alone teach somebody shit. So, but that's besides the point. What I'm trying to illustrate here is there are requirements if you want to be at a certain level. And I think oftentimes we overlook the requirements and we become just entitled and we think, we want that, I want that, I'm going to get it. And that's not how it works, Jack. You have to go through the prerequisites or else you're not going to be attaining the level or the credential that you want. Now, for me, as a young buck 21-year-old, 20-year-old, 19, whatever I was in college, that clearly wasn't something that I wanted. I wasn't willing to go through the prerequisites or the requirements that are asked of me to attain such a level. To me, it wasn't a high level, but it was a level, nonetheless, that I wanted to give to my business for what I was actually doing. I wanted to be able to basically instantiate myself to my customers and say, look, yes, I'm legitimate. You can trust me. Okay, that's the only reason why I wanted to do this thing in the first place. But I wasn't willing to go through the required task that was at hand to be able to deliver and get that certification. So I opted out. And there are certain things in your life right now that you're looking at through a very fragmented lens and seeing that this big picture thing that you want to do, it's just not possible because you're not willing to go through the requirements that are asked of you to be able to achieve such a status. If you want any status in your life, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's social status. I don't care if it's business status, especially business status, relationship status. You have to go through required tasks before you get there, or prerequisites. You can't be your best in a relationship if you haven't gone through bullshit muck and mire relationships before that and learn from them and actually extracted elements of value to bring into your next relationship. That's a requirement. Nobody's going to start out a relationship being 100% perfect. Doesn't happen. In business, you're going to have to go through seemingly insignificant tasks, or rather, you're going to go through blunders, and you're going to have blunders, rather. You're going to have hurdles and challenges. You're going to make mistakes like a motherfucker, and also, you're going to actually lose money. You're going to lose money. You're going to lose out on deals that you thought you should have done, but you didn't do, or you didn't do them even though you thought this is, or you didn't do them thinking, I should have done that deal, you're going to miss out. You're going to lose out on opportunities. But you learn from that. Those are requirements, man. You need those in order to become more resilient, more refined, and just a better overall person, businessman, lover, companion, etc. And most of us are just so down on our luck because we think, oh, I got to go through this to get to this. Fuck that. I don't want to do that. That's a waste of my time. That's entitlement. I was entitled as that kid in ASC certified, Wonderland, like Fantasyland, thinking I'm just going to get this cert and I'm not going to have to do anything with it for it but to take a test. Like, no. It's not how it works, Justin. You have to go through these prerequisites. You have to pass these prerequisites in order to get there. It's not just taking the test. You got to showcase that you have what it takes. You got to showcase that you have the guts, the brains, the fortitude. You have to showcase all these things before, and the minimum is 2 years. Minimum. Let you know a little bit about me. If you listen to my last podcast, you know I haven't had a job for somebody else for longer than 3 fucking months. So that's why that task seemed very daunting to me. To be 2 years working in a shop, all over something I didn't even want to, or albeit something that I wanted, but something that I didn't want to do to get there. I thought I was above that. Like I could just take a test, grab the cert, show it to my customers. Hey, look at this. Trust me. Trust me. I am ASC certified. You can't expect that. You can't expect anything of merit or value to come from just taking one test, from just passing one test. There are going to be multiple tests you have to pass in order to get at the perceived level that you want. It doesn't just come. You can't just buy it. You can't just grab it. You have to go through the prerequisites. That's not just asked of you. It's asked of everybody. The question is, do you have what it takes to go through the prerequisites? Do you have the enduration? Do you have the fortitude? Do you have the perseverance? Do you have the intelligence? Do you have the discipline? Can you adopt the responsibility? All these components are necessary for you to level up. It's not going to come by way of you just thinking it into existence, or by way of you thinking, well, if I just do one thing, I can get there. If I just take this path over here, I can get there. And smooth sailing all the way through. Or like me, one test, I can get the cert. I think that question you have to ask yourself every single day. Every single day that you're up and you're alive and you're able, you have to ask yourself of that task. Am I able to complete this task of all the prerequisites that I need in order to get to where I want to go? I mean, there are prerequisites in everything. There are requirements in everything you do. It's called the process. This is the process. You may hate the process, but there's a reason why you're avidly going through the process and you need these requirements, because they're there to help you. They're there to refine you. They're there to level you up. They're there to show yourself what you're made of. Clearly, I didn't have what it takes when I was back then in 19, 20 years old. I didn't have what was asked of me. I didn't want to do that. I was somewhat entitled thinking. Don't be that person. If you want something that's worth merit and value, you have to set discipline, perseverance, and you have to have fortitude encapsulated around these requirements that are asked of you. Now, what does that look like? I don't know. Let's say you want to start a business. And let's say that business, you need a business plan first. First, you need the vision, you need the business plan. Then you need to give that business plan to multiple banks and see who can loan you out the money. Then once you have the money, then you go searching for these areas that are open for lease or whatever. And you go into that lease and with the money that's allocated from the bank, and then you start piecing together your business from your business model. And you start cultivating it in the actual shop that you've now leased. And you put together this, you cultivate this business now that you've already had a business model from. Now you got to check in with the city. Are you up to code? All these, you got to get permits for this, permit for that. Make sure you're not a fire hazard. I mean, like all these things, these are requirements for you to actually facilitate and be a legitimate business. You can't just go and say, I like that place, I'm going to go buy it, and then I'm just going to, put my stuff in there and call myself a business and say, yeah, hey, to the public, here's a banner, I'm a business. There are requirements that are asked of you, even if you do something as small as that. Even if you're just selling lemonade out of a shop, like it's still, there's so much encapsulated around doing something like that. Do you have what it takes to facilitate these requirements? Or do you just think you have the ability, or somebody should give you the right to just do what you want to do? Obviously, you don't think that. It's mindless to think that. I really, really, really feel that you need to set boundaries and adopt disciplines and adopt responsibility in order for you to actually, what's the word I'm looking for? For you to actually solve these requirements of you, or not solve rather, but to be able to facilitate with these requirements that are asked of you. If not, then you'll never get anywhere substantial. I mean, it may be substantial to you, but it's not going to be substantial to the actual character that's infused within you that's capable of far more. And most of us are putting way too many limitations on ourselves because of the requirements that we're not willing to actually complete. The requirements are the thing that you have to complete. But everything of merit and worth has its requirements. I think you should stop peddling entitlement if you are, and just put your head down and get the fucking requirements done. Done.